Hi, I have been using this iPhone SE 2020 for last 2 years, since 2020, and it's lightweight and compact, but the battery power is not so good and not so efficient. But I like the mono lens, single lens, but it doesn't have a wide lens, but it gives me an efficient photography that you can see in my Instagram blog. And I like this compact because it was compact in my hand, in my single hand, compared to iPhone model 11 and 12 and above. So I like this compact for my productivity life. So I mainly use Safari in my iPhone. That comes in a better version, and FaceTime and iMessage that comes in default. That comes a specific use when using an iPhone. Everyone uses iMessage for communication between iPhone users and FaceTime. And so my daily usage is I use is phone and browser and messages and emails, and this is a default mail app in iPhone. So I use multiple email like Outlook and Gmail and everything in one app, default Apple app. And yes, it comes in a very lightweight, and you can arrange different apps in different boxes. And so I just want to, and especially when you comes for note taking, I don't use anything Notion and some other kind of productivity note taking apps. I just use Apple Notes, just Apple Notes, and I can have Apple Notes for different hashtags. And so you have all notebooks in one folder. For example, like you can write everything here, and you can make sketches using Apple Pencil, and so there is lots of things that you can easily write. You can usually write everything here, and yeah. So I feel this is better than when using a Notion or something, because it comes in a cloud. So if you have a different email that you are using in Apple phone, in iCloud, so it have a cloud version, so you don't lost your notes, and you can make journaling. You can have different notes for different purposes and different things. So, and make hashtags to find what notebooks you are using the hashtag. And I specifically like Apple Notes. I've been using Notion and Obsidian for last some years back, but I like the Apple Notes better than anything, better than any note taking. And then I'm a big fan of Apple TV. A big fan of Apple TV. I watch some good series like the Mosquito Coast. The Mosquito Coast. Yeah, I like. And then I'm a good fan of Apple products, especially the Apple stocks. You can see what stocks I have bookmarked. These stocks that I'm following, and you get the news about the stocks. And the Apple TV, I watch some Apple TV series, and because so when you sign up for the Apple Music, then you can get the Apple TV as well. And I like Apple Music. So when I do my productivity life, like I listen Apple Music. You can make a playlist. You can find a playlist, and you can make your own playlist as well. And so I have my own playlist, and I have my own profile of musics. And you can browse. That is radio station for different songs and playlists on different artists. And you can browse different countries and different artists and different albums, different years from 90s, 1980s and the 70s music and the early 2000 music, and I have saved some playlist for me to listen some music. And and you can search as well some music you want, and but there is a small fee for this. When you can access Apple Music, you can access Apple TV as well, and the Apple Podcast is free. There is no charge for that. So I listen some interesting podcast like 365 Astronomy, Radio Astronomy, and Universe Today, TED Talks. You can follow TED Talks, and I'm a big fan of watching TED Talks on YouTube. But sometimes when I was in Productivity Live, going out and travel and working in computers, I can't watch the video. So this podcasting, TED podcast, is very useful, and Physics Well. There are lots of podcasts as well you can listen, and even I have my own podcast, but it's not so good. So there is some universities, they have their own lectures, like from Stanford and from Oxford, so you can watch these podcasts as well there. So I like Apple Podcasts so much. And then so when at daytime I just increase my brightness, but when at night time I just reduce the brightness and goes to the night mode. Night mode is, it shows a little bit dim, little bit of eye friendly.